Hello everybody, this is Lee. April 20th, 2022 marks the 15-year anniversary of me becoming sick with what would eventually be named neuromyelitis optica. This is a difficult day for me because it seems like no matter how long it goes, the day is still so vivid in my mind. On April 19th of 2007, I was really had no bad indications that I was going to later have an attack that night of what would be called transverse myelitis. I had gone to work that day. We had gone to a ball game. I came home. I was tired, really exhausted. I remember my husband, Scott, was working third shift. I told him that I needed to go to bed. I just couldn't hardly even function. And I went to bed, and he put the kids to sleep. And he came into my room, told me good night. When he left for work, Micah, who was 6 at the time, was still sleeping in the bed with me while his dad was working. And we went off to sleep, and I woke back up around 1:15. He was a kicker, and he kicked me in the back. Thank goodness he did. I got up, I went to the bathroom, and when I was sitting there on the toilet, I had just a bad wave of nausea. And I thought it was because maybe, I didn't have anything on my stomach. I went to the kitchen to go get a Tylenol. And some medicine, and to go get a cracker to eat. I remember getting the box of crackers out of my kitchen cabinet, and I was standing there trying to open them, and all of a sudden it felt like someone had took a hot knife and hit me at the base of my neck. And I just remember the pain. And that was like the worst pain that I've ever felt. And after the pain just subsided, but I could start feeling the numbness go down through my arms. And then it just became so heavy. At that point, I could still use my hands, so I went to the phone and I dialed my mom's number. And I was frantic, and I just like, Mama, you need to come. I'm sick. I didn't want my boys left here with me because I just felt like something bad was wrong. So I waited. I was waiting for my mom, but I was getting nervous. So I went to my son's room. It was on the other side of the house. My son Jonah was 10, but he was such a heavy sleeper that I was calling his name. I couldn't get him to wake up. And at that point, I didn't even have enough strength in my arms to try to wake him up and shake him. So I had to sit on the side of the bed and use my legs to bounce on the bed. And I told him, Jonah, Mama's sick. I need you to get up. And he kind of tousled around for a few seconds. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get him up. And so I walked back to the kitchen, and I didn't know what to do. at that point, I couldn't even lift the phone off the receiver. I knew I needed to call 911. I was worried that I was going to die there in my house with my boys. And so, just as all this was going through my brain, Jonah turned the curve, and he walked into the living room. And I've never felt so relieved to see him. And I told him that I needed him to call 911. And he called it, and he had to hold the receiver up to my ear as I talked to the operator, and she told me help was coming. But by that point, the numbness was working its way down, and it was hard for me to breathe. I just could not. I felt like the house was just. I felt claustrophobic. I couldn't breathe. And so me and him walked outside because it kept raining that night because there was a breeze. And it felt a little better. And then my mom finally showed up. And she's like, Lee, you need to go in. Because it was hard for me to even stand. I was leaning against walls trying to keep myself upright. And so I came in, I sat on the couch. And then finally the ambulance people got here. And I was frustrated with them because they immediately thought, oh, what is she taking? Is it a drug overdose? I guess that's common. So they just assumed that's what I had. I did not have time to call my husband. My immediate, I was wanting him there. I was like, where's Scott? I want Scott. And he was at work. But in my thoughts of survival, I was like, I got to get my boys taken care of. I got to get myself to the hospital, which was unusual for me because, I had never had to ever call the hospital about anything. And so for me to do that, I knew that I was in dire need. And so when the paramedics got here, I kept trying to tell them it was bad. And finally one of them, it was like it clicked. And he was like, we've got to get her to the hospital. And they started saying, oh, we're going to take care of you. We'll get you there. And when we got into the ambulance, he was like, you'll be okay. We'll get you there. We'll get you there. And I said, I can't breathe. And I blacked out. That's all I remember. And it wasn't till hours later that I woke up in the hospital, and I was intubated, and I couldn't move at all from my neck down. I couldn't even really swallow, and all that was within 45 minutes. So today is one of those hard days because I still remember all that, but yet I also remember that it's a miracle that I'm here, and it's by God's grace that I am, because if Micah had not woke me up, if Jonah had not woken up and called 911, if it wasn't for, the doctors, the nurses, if it wasn't for my mom and my sister taking care of me all these years, I still wouldn't be here. it's a true miracle. And I remember that, every single day it's a gift. And I've got a lot to live for and a lot to be thankful for. And I do give all that to God. So I always want to remember that on this day. But thank you for listening. Bye.